Hello everyone, and welcome to a daily dose of a spiritual vitamin from me, Bonnie B. For the purpose of this broadcast today, I would like to talk about birth charts. The reason I'm going to talk about birth charts is because Mercury is in retrograde, which means that Mercury energies start there. Try to find my specs. Can I say no? Okay, at this moment. I have to do this blind, y'all. Marijuana. Excuse me. Okay. Ooh, child. I think I gotta pull out my emergency spec show. Alright. Mercury. This is the concrete and the conscious mind. So the planet Mercury represents those concrete and conscious thoughts. Hold on, please. Thank you for your patience. Alright, so we know that Mercury represents those concrete and, what does it say? The concrete and the conscious mind. So those things that you are fully aware of are represented under the sign of Mercury. The sign and the house show how and where you communicate and assimilate the results of your relationships, your reasoning, and your rationales, your logic. These are the things that are found in Mercury. So that means that if you are a person who is of traditional values, where you have been agnostic all your life, only thing you know is that of the agnostic, or you're a Presbyterian, or you're a, Episcopalian. You've been this all your life. I've been this. My mama been this. My daddy been this. My granddaddy been this. My great 900 years ago, he was this. This is who we are. That's your traditionalism. Because something may fall under traditionalism. Excuse me, one more time. Does not mean that it is always right. During this retrograde period, let's understand what retrograde planets are. Retrograde planets appear to move backwards when seen from the earth because of the different sizes and speeds of the other planetary aspects and systems that are going on. So Saturn is still going in her direction, Pluto is still going in its direction, Neptune is still going in its direction, Saturn is still going in its direction. But Mercury is going in the opposite direction. This is God's prophetic way of allowing you to reassess those concrete decisions, reassess the way that maybe you look at situations and circumstances. Mercury in retrograde is an important planetary aspect because this is the last retrograde we get before we leave the year. Planetary systems are going forward. Lionsgate portal is open. And those who are in it are under retrograde energies. The whole planet is, for that matter. But maybe I think the Lord wants me to, says no. Help them understand. Okay. When we have planets in retrograde, these planets are God's divine system of giving you an opportunity to redirect your thoughts, redirect your energy, redirect your manifestations, redirect your path in decision-making skills. Retrograde planets are to teach you lessons that you failed to learn the first time around. And it also acts as a means of, once you have learned lessons, to give you an opportunity to get on board so that you can get headed in the right direction. So when we have retrograde energies, it has a twofold energy, process, and purpose. When we have our moons during these retrograde cycles, these moons are 10 days off of God's planetary system. This is the Roman calendar system of moon cycles. Your feast that you are supposed to hold, you're supposed to actually hold them 10 days sooner than you are actually holding them. When you want to make your manifestations before God, you need to prepare them 10 days earlier than what the planetary clock is telling you to do. Because when they fail to follow God's Hebrew calendar and keeping the festivals of the Jubilees, they fell under a Gentile curse. And so all of the holidays and feast systems are 10 days off in order to fall under a pagan calendar. That's how come the solstice and the equinox and all of those things fall the way they fall. But if you are trying to manifest and you are attempting to manifest change, you are attempting to manifest things that you know God has divinely ordained you to do in your heart to manifest, you need to begin your processes 10 days sooner. You're 10 days behind. In order for you to be able to catch up on the Hebraic calendar, the full moon might come on the 20th, but you must begin celebration on the 10th. If it falls on the 14th, you must do it 10 days before the 4th. Whatever the date is that the full moon falls on, you must begin the process 10 days earlier. In order for your manifestations to take root and effect, and for God to recognize that is a divine ritual and practice as a festival. There are certain moons that we are supposed to offer our sacrifices and thanksgiving and first fruits under, and there are certain moons that you are supposed to release energies. Every new moon is not your new moon for releasing. It's every fourth moon that you release. There are a lot of cosmic things that are done under pagan and ritualistic cycles that are not under the ordained ordinance of God according to the ritual practices of Enoch, Methuselah, Isaiah, Abraham, Noah, Moses. These all followed the Hebrew calendar. These all followed the Feast of Jubilees. The Feast of Jubilees has a purpose. It is a purpose for the divine seed. Those of us who've been chosen and elected in order for us to pull our manifestations into fruition. We must operate under the divine calendar. And the divine calendar is 10 days off. Might sound crazy. But the way the planetary systems are set up right now is under the Gentile rule. Is the universal calendar true? But that's the key word. Universal. Not divine. Not Hebraic. If you want God to move in your manifestations, this is what you have to do. You have to do your burnt offerings to your ancestors and your first fruits and your savors before the throne of grace. You don't need to do blood. Jesus Christ was the only begotten Son. He was the sacrifice. The first fruits that I'm talking about are for your gifts, your spiritual gifts that God has blessed you to receive. These are special, and they require a special ritual. I won't get into that, but if you're interested, email Barnaby. I'll give you details. In our birth charts, we have many aspects of who we are. We are not just one sign. You can have Gemini, and your Mercury and your sun sign can be Aquarius. You can have the moon of a Sagittarius. Your moon and the way that the cosmic cycles when you were born, when your star hit the planet, hit the hemisphere of this dimensional energy. The stars that aligned on your birth chart aligned to give you the greatest opportunities for prosperity and abundance. There are so many aspects of the man, of the human being, of the creation of God that traditionalism tells you you're not allowed to tap into. Why does it not want you to know who you are? God did not create you with secrets. God did not create junk DNA. The programming that society at large is fed is propaganda because they have to be mentally prepared to become cattle. They have to be herded, fed what they want them to have, and kept corralled. When you get to the point in your life where you no longer want to just believe because you've been told that's what you should believe, and you begin to expand why you are here and what is the real purpose of your soul and why did God give you a soul and is there a divine reason for you being here? Who am I? Should be the number one question. Who am I? What is my life purpose? Why did God create me? Is there a bigger picture for me? Many star seeds are walking around with gifts. They can see things. They have apparitions. They have visions. They have dreams. They have things that come true. But because society as a whole has deemed that these people are abnormal and that they're freaks and things like this, a lot of them won't stand up and be authentic to who they are. The Spirit of God says, why not? Because when the world turns against you, God accepts you for who you are. Even if you don't call him God, call him the Most High. Call him your creator, your co-creator, your manifesting energy that sent the only begotten Son so that the magic and the energy that you do manipulate, he can bring things in fruition. The Christian calls it miracles. Blessings. Blessings on blessings. When you look around at the trees and you realize that you are abundant and you realize that the moon energy, when you operate in the power of God and you utilize the moon for the purpose in which it was intended, which is the beginning and the signification of feast, then you understand how to manifest in proper moon energy. Because we have all fallen under pagan society and pagan understandings and pagan moons and pagan rituals and pagan beliefs, we don't wield the power of God in the manner in which we should. We're so quick to accept and believe things that are even told in documentaries. And the more that you look at them, the more you realize that there is so much false doctrine in them. Because with all the things that they give you in which to open your mind with, none of them ever acknowledged that Jesus Christ, who did die on the cross, who did raise in 3 days, who did go into hell, get the keys from the 7 judges of the Anunnaki, and set the captives free. They don't give him his right respect. They want you to believe that the universal God, the snake, that slimy serpent that crawled in the ground in Eden and deceived Eve, this is what they want you to accept as your God, the serpent. As he slithers into your life with trickery and holograms and illusions, people are willing to accept him as a higher awareness. The snake spoke. What if it had been a skunk? People be running around talking about the skunk spoke. Of course he spoke. He's a shapeshifter. But what God did was deem him to stay that way. That's the part nobody likes to talk about. The Creator created even Lucifer. That's how come he only has a limited amount of power. But when you allow illusions and delusions to take control of your life and you allow yourself to be fed propaganda and you don't seek the face of God for the truth in which it is, looking for all truth and honesty, it's very easy to succumb. False doctrine, false beliefs, and false understandings. When you understand that the primary purpose of doctrine is to create division in the body of Christ, without allowing you to focus on the primary and meat and potatoes, was the fact that Jesus Christ died on the cross. It doesn't matter what day it was. He died. And he rose. And if he hadn't been born, then he couldn't have been crucified. That's the meat and potato. Why did he die? Because Adam sinned. And Adam had tainted blood. So Jesus, the only begotten Son, had to come. He had to. And he always knew he had to. They call them the Elohim, the shining ones. But he is not the serpent that spoke to Eve. That was the shapeshifter of the reptilian. That was the one who all the killing was done for. It was that bloodline that the Knights Templar and the reptilian and draconian races protected. It was the tainted blood, not the blood of Christ, because they don't acknowledge him. So when you dig into understanding of who Jesus Christ was and who he truly is, and when you open up your heart and ask him to come into your heart and give you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and protection, he will reveal himself to you. And you'll find that it's not so easy for you to be swayed by a lot of the false doctrine that you find in your documentaries. So, be blessed, my beloved. That's your daily dose. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Your ways are not his ways. So, in all your ways, acknowledge him. Be blessed.